Okay, quick recap if you're just joining us. Last time we talked about Christopher. Tall, charming, in law enforcement. And within weeks, he looked Tiffany dead in her eye and said, "I think you might be my soulmate." Now, spoiler alert, that wasn't romance. That was a strategy called mirroring. And by the end of part 1, we found out he wasn't speaking to Tiffany. He was speaking to her wound. Now, if you missed part 1, pause. Go watch it first because everything I'm about to say is going to hit 10 times harder once you've seen how it started. Trust me on this. Okay, so let's talk about why this works so well. Because it's not random. There's a whole psychology to why empaths and narcissists actually find each other every single time. Like they have a GPS for each other. An empath, and I mean this in both the spiritual and the psychological sense, is someone who is highly attuned to other people's emotional states. You feel things deeply. You pick up on what people aren't saying. You are wired for connection, for healing, for understanding. You also, and this is the part we don't talk about enough, often have an internal wound that sounds like, "If I love people well enough, I will be safe." That wound usually comes from childhood, from a parent who was inconsistent, from learning that love had conditions, from having to earn safety by being good, being helpful, being perceptive. That's not a character flaw. That's a survival strategy that got stuck. The narcissist, particularly the covert one, has the opposite presentation but a related wound. Underneath all of the performance, covert narcissism often masks profound shame, a terror of being truly seen because they believe what's truly there isn't enough. So they construct a self, a persona, a mask. They need constant validation, what psychologists call narcissistic supply, to keep that shame at bay. Now, put those two people in a room together and the empath radiates warmth, depth, and the promise of being truly known. That is catnip to someone starving for supply. The narcissist radiates attention, admiration, and the feeling of finally being seen. That is catnip to someone whose nervous system learned that love looks like intensity. Uh-oh, oh no. This is the trap, and it has a clinical name. In attachment theory, there are two patterns that create what therapists call the anxious-avoidant cycle. The anxiously attached person, often your empath, moves toward when they feel disconnected. They pursue, they check in, they ask, "Are we okay?" They over-explain. They shrink themselves trying to stabilize the relationship. The more uncertain things feel, the more activated their nervous system gets, and the harder they work to close the distance. The dismissive avoidant person, often your covert narc, though not always, moves away when intimacy gets real. They pull back. They go cold. They create distance. And then, here's the cruel part. When the anxious partner backs off in response, the avoidant suddenly comes back because the threat of real closeness is gone. And to the anxiously attached person, that cycle of hot and cold reads as proof that something special is there. Because every time he comes back, it feels like he chose her. It feels like the connection is real. It's not a connection, it's actually a loop. And your nervous system gets addicted to it the same way you get addicted to anything, through intermittent reward. This is the same psychology behind slot machines. Did this man just turn me into a slot machine? Technically, yeah. Okay, so now that we understand the dynamic, let's talk about what you were actually looking at in real time. The red flags that were wrapped so beautifully in niceness that they looked like gifts. Red flag number 1. Love bombing that feels like being chosen. Intense, early, overwhelming affection, constant contact, future faking. The soulmate comment so early on. Genuine connection builds gradually. Love bombing feels like someone turned on a spotlight. It's designed to skip the part where you evaluate them slowly and get you attached fast. Red flag number 2. Mirroring that's just a little too perfect. Healthy people have their own tastes. Christopher didn't discover The Office, but he discovered what Tiffany loved about The Office and performed it back. Over time, and this is how you catch it, their preferences shift based on whoever they're with. Ask them about their interests before they meet you. Watch how specific they can actually be. Red flag number 3. The subtle victim narrative. Covert narcs almost always have a story about how everyone has wronged them. Exes were crazy, old friends were fake, family didn't understand them. They are always the protagonist who was failed. This isn't self-awareness. It's a pattern of taking no accountability while still performing humility. Red flag number 4. Empathy that's actually observation. This one is subtle, but it's important. Christopher seemed empathetic. He seemed to understand Tiffany, but he was actually watching her. There's a difference between someone who feels with you and someone who studies you so they can predict and influence you. Over time, you'll notice, does their sympathy, quote unquote, ever cost them anything? Or is it always convenient? Red flag number 5. Discomfort when you have needs. The mask starts slipping the moment you stop being easy. The moment Tiffany had a bad day and needed support, real support, not performed support, Christopher got uncomfortable, maybe distant, maybe critical. Because his empathy was a tool, not a capacity. And tools have limits. Now, let's talk about something people always ask about narcissists. Do narcissists actually lie? The answer is yes, but how they lie depends entirely on which kind you're dealing with. Now, your overt narcissist, he lies boldly, loudly, with zero shame. Exaggeration, flat-out denial, while looking you dead in the face. He lies because somewhere deep down he genuinely believes he's above being questioned, above accountability, above you even having the right to confront him. But the covert narcissist, he's far more sophisticated than that. He rarely tells a lie you can catch in the moment, because his deception isn't in individual statements. It's in the entire constructed persona. The whole thing is a lie. He operates through omission, never giving you the full picture, just enough to control what you believe. He uses strategic vulnerability, sharing carefully selected painful truths about himself to make you feel trusted, chosen, and special. Like you're the only one who really knows him. Meanwhile, those stories are curated, edited, designed to pull you closer while revealing nothing real. He performs honesty, confessing small things to seem transparent while the big things stay buried, making you think, well, he told me about that, so he must be telling me everything. He's not. And when confronted, he doesn't lie. He just remembered it differently. Let me give you a real example. There came a point in Tiffany's situation with Christopher where she found out, not from him, but from someone close to him, that he was in a relationship, had been the whole entire time. So she asked him directly, looked him in the eye and asked him point blank. And Christopher said no. he wasn't in a relationship. Not, let me explain. Not, it's complicated. Just, no. Clean, calm, unbothered. And here's what made it covert narcissism and not just regular cheating. It wasn't just the lie, it was how easy it was for him, how steady he stayed, how quickly he made Tiffany feel like maybe she'd gotten bad information, maybe his friend had it wrong, maybe she was being paranoid. He didn't just lie to her, he lied and then made her question whether she even had the right to ask. That's the difference. An overt narc lies and dares you to challenge him. A covert narc lies and makes you feel crazy for suspecting him in the first place. Tiffany wasn't paranoid. Tiffany was right. She just wasn't supposed to know that yet. Red flag number 6. Gaslighting that disguises itself as forgetfulness. Tiffany would bring up something Christopher said or did, like a broken promise, a cold comment, and he wouldn't just deny it, he'd act like it was her imagination. I never said that, Tiffany. Are you sure you're remembering that right? It's never a flat-out lie. It's a gentle, concerned suggestion that she's being overly sensitive or losing her grip. He makes her memory the problem so he never has to be the one at fault. Red flag number 7. Hypersensitivity to criticism that turns the tables. The moment Tiffany tried to set a boundary, even as simple as, hey, I need a little space tonight, Christopher's mask would shatter. He wouldn't hear a request, he'd hear an attack. He'd immediately pivot to how much he does for her, how unappreciated he feels, or how cruel she's being. Suddenly, he is the one suffering, and Tiffany is apologizing for the audacity of having a need. Red flag number 8. The silent treatment used as a precision instrument. This isn't just someone taking time to cool off. This is used as a weapon. When Christopher wanted to exert control, he'd go quiet, stop responding to texts, and treat Tiffany like a ghost in the room. The silence is designed to make her frantic, to make her chase him, and to make her do anything to break the wall of his indifference. It's not about resolution. It's more about making sure she knows that her access to his affection is entirely on his terms. Now, if this hit home, like, share, and subscribe to be notified of when part 3 comes out, because we are not done with Christopher yet. Talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.